Good evening. This episode of Legendary is brought to you by Audible. Audible.com. For a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook, head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
Remember that one? Flash from the past. What's up, buddy? It's Thursday. Welcome to Legendary episode 116 for February 20th, 2013. I'm Gary Gannon. You're watching GameBreaker.tv tonight. Interviews, holy crap, interviews, and some more interviews. We've got challenge modes, titans, upgrade items, lots more. But first, from Tankspot.com's weekly Mario PST, it's Josh Allen, aka Lore. What's up, bro?
Hi.
And from WoW Insider, and of course, GameBreaker.tv, Olivia D. Grace.
Hello.
Hello.
Deathwing. I miss Deathwing. He was cool.
Right?
He was awesome.
These stupid panda, man.
Stupid pandas. Dragons. Internet dragons are cool.
I love slang, internet dragons. All right. Let's get things started. Yesterday, that was Wednesday of this week, Blizzard dropped the patch 5.2 trailer. If you're watching this show, I'm going to assume you already seen it, and I'm not going to play it because YouTube hates me. But you should definitely go watch it right here on GameBreaker.tv. I think we've got it posted. Yes, we do. And you can watch it.
You sure do.
People have been freaking out over this trailer. What did you guys think? I really thought the whole poem and the feel and the just how they put this thing together just knocked it out of the park. This thing was epic.
Yeah, it was definitely very well put together trailer this time around. I think a lot of people were kind of expecting this thing to come up and remembering like the Dragon Soul trailer. Like, remember we talked about it and like somebody went in like took the audio files out of the game and layered it over top and everyone was like, holy crap, now this trailer's like 10,000 times better. Blizzard realized that. And so they made a trailer that had like some of the most epic voiceover in any trailer that we've gotten so far. And it fit really, really, really well. It's hard for me to be like super like getting like chills and everything from trailers since the Heart of the Swarm trailer also came out last week. And that one I was just like, but it was still a very, very good trailer.
Yeah, it was. It was very good because I have to say I was in the group of people who were entirely not blown away by the initial Pandaria trailer. I liked it, but I was just like, I want to see something a bit more a bit more epic. And this was definitely more epic. I thought the poem was awesome. I thought it like fitted in with the whole Pandaria Lore Walker show. It was just great. It was a really, really. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. It was just nice to have a big boss again, like to have a scary dude who's trying to take over the world again. It's like about time.
Yeah, Lore Walker show.
As soon as we posted it, like every comment was just like, wow, like nobody expected a poem, and then everybody just felt like, wow, it gives you chills. They knocked it out of the park.
The guy who does that voiceover work is amazing. I forget his name.
He does a lot of voiceover work too. I don't remember his name off the top of my head right now.
Jim or something. Jim Cummings.
He's Winnie the Pooh.
Is he?
He's
Really?
Winnie the
Seriously? Are you trolling me, Josh Allen?
No, I'm serious. He has such a wide vocal range.
Wow.
He does so many different voices. He
Yeah, that would
obviously
be a
nails
fun-
the Lore Walker Cho voice.
That
but
would be
yeah.
a fun show. Let's get somebody like that.
Yeah.
Blizzard, get somebody like that on the show. And he could just sit and do voices the entire time. Be like, do that voice.
It's so freaky as well. It's so freaky as well to hear like Lore Walker Cho's voice coming out of some dude's face. Like that should be Lore Walker Cho's face, or like Winnie the Pooh's voice coming out of some dude's face that's not obviously not actually a bear.
It's obviously Klaus. All right, so this week Blizzard fired up the hype machine for patch 5.2, of course, with the trailer and then a round of developer interviews. A few sites have already posted theirs, including right here on Gamebreaker. I had a chance to sit down and talk to Dave Kosak, lead quest designer, ask him a few questions about the lore. It's a great interview. Do not want to miss it. It's right up here on GameBreaker.tv. Definitely worth checking out. And there's a few things we wanted to talk about today on Legendary, so we pulled them out. He talked about a few things coming up, about stuff coming up in 5.2. But I think what the juicy bits are really about what's coming after that. Let's take a listen. Also, it seems like this is this the last major threat local to Pandaria? I guess my next question would be like, what's next after that? We've been told that the last boss would be Garrosh. Are you taking the fight away from that continent, going back to Azeroth in 5.4?
Yeah, much like 5.1, we're going to then really refocus on how Pandaria has changed the factions and what is happening with the rest of the world. So, yeah, I hate to spoil the patches going forward, but we're going to explore that in patch 5.3, and then there's definitely a raid on the way where there will be a coup for the Horde.
Boom! So basically, patch 5.2 closes out the story of Pandaria with the death of the Thunder King, and then after that, it's back to Azeroth, kiddies. What do you guys think? I mean, the expansion's only been out for 5 months. Is it too soon to realistically basically be leaving? Are we done with Pandaria? Goodbye. See you later. What's...
Welcome to Pandaria. Now get out of here. No,
I came to Pandaria and all I got was this stinking shirt.
I think it's kind of, and also these bracers and this trinket and this ring and this like Shaw touch weapon of some sort.
Awesome hat.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting actually. I'm actually kind of excited to see how they end up implementing it, because that was kind of the point of Pandaria, right? Was that it was, or Miss Pandaria was that they were like, yeah, okay, we're gonna go to Pandaria, we're gonna hang out with some bears for a little bit and some bugs and some goopy Shaw things. But then after that, it's Horde versus Alliance. It's Red versus Blue. I'm excited. We're getting back. We're getting to the Red versus Blue part, guys. We're getting to where we get to fight each other again.
Oh my god!
On the horizon that we all been waiting for. Sorry, that was my Metzen at BlizzCon.
It was amazing.
I couldn't actually remember.
You nailed it.
Thank you.
They literally the patch 5.4 trailer is just gonna be Metzen like sitting at home drinking a cup of coffee, and he's just like, Loktar, and everyone's like,
no, but are you surprised that you're leaving this quickly? 5 months in? I mean, are you surprised?
I kind of am. Yeah, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's because I haven't made any concerted effort to actually really explore Pandaria whatsoever, apart from killing rares, which is kind of my new hobby at the minute, is just killing all the rares. Because they were talking in Cataclysm about how they kind of, when we were going in the transition from Cataclysm to Mist, they were talking about, oh yeah, we kind of duffed up doing this whole expansion without a new continent. And I mean, we spent the entire of Cataclysm in the old world. Are we really ready to be going back there again? I mean, are we not? Oh, no, I don't know. I'm so torn. I mean, I think it's really cool. The Horde Alliance conflict is something I'm definitely looking forward to. But I don't know that I'm looking forward to going back to Azeroth again for a change.
You know what's really interesting about the 5.2 trailer and just this time right now that's going on? Because those little sneaky bastards at Blizzard, it's working. Because Olivia didn't care about the lore like a couple months ago. She was just like, I could care less. And now all of a sudden she's like sitting in chat with our producer who's like almost like red shirt guy, but she's girl. And she knows like everything about the lore. And Olivia is just like, what? Tell me, explain this to me. I want to know. And now she's all about it. They're doing it. They're doing it. They're getting everybody into the story.
And I think I think one of the big things to also remember about how this whole thing is going to shake out in terms of time spent in Pandaria versus time spent going back to Azeroth is that they do still want people to be gearing themselves up and working through the old content as they're progressing forward. It's not like, somebody who, like, if you just get an alt to level 90 or someone who's just, they're coming into the expansion late, it's not like they're going to jump directly into, just skip all the Pandaria stuff and go right over here to go take down Garrosh or something like that. You're still going to be doing all of that content as you get your characters to max level and you go through all of that. So I do think it's nice to have a change of pace like that and a change of scenery where it's like, okay, it almost feels like a mini expansion in the middle of the expansion because now we're getting to go to a different environment and do different stuff. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but a different environment that we spent the entire of the last expansion in. I don't know. I'm not excited. I'm not excited about going back to Azeroth. I'm really not.
See,
Sorry.
I've mostly just blocked out the majority of Cataclysm, so that's just not there anymore.
I killed Arthas.
It's
Pandas.
Well, and I mean, I spent the majority of Cataclysm in Orgrimmar queuing up for things too. So,
well, are you looking forward to going back to Orgrimmar and the siege of Orgrimmar to spend some more time in Orgrimmar queuing up for things?
Well, if I'll be killing Garrosh.
That's what I was going to say. If he's looking towards the 5.4, if it looks like that, I mean, you're going to have the Orgrimmar raid. You're going to take down Garrosh. Isn't that what it's looking like for 5.4?
I mean, at least I stood in Stormwind waiting for queues. Like, new environment.
I mean, is that how you're taking? Are you guys both taking it as 5.4 is gonna be it?
Siege of Org. I think there might be like a what was that dragon that you killed after ICC? Hallion? Was that the dragon you killed? There was a little interim thing between Hallion. It was
the
Hallion.
Ruby Sanctum.
That was there we go. Thank you. And like I think they might. I can't believe that. I don't know. I just feel like one more raid. It's kind of totally unreasonable and unjustified for me to say it. I don't think it feels like it's enough. I feel like there should be more.
I mean, that's that.
Why?
Do you think that confirms that you're only getting 3?
Well, that's
what you got in Cataclysm.
It's done.
Yeah, I think if Garrosh is the final fight or the final tier, and we're getting that in 5.4, then
you think that's it?
Yeah, that would be what the word final means.
I just don't want. Can you imagine another Dragon Soul, but it's actually in Orgrimmar, not even in the new continent? So we're all going to be back to sitting in Stormwind, or because I think obviously Orgrimmar is going to be blown up with a mana bomb or something. So you guys will be sitting in Undercity. Enjoy.
Yeah,
but,
and
we're just going to be chilling out for another 9 months, going, "Wow, that was fun."
The other thing is like, is it going to be 9 months? Like, if they keep up with the content pacing that they've been putting out, we're talking 5 months from 5.0 to 5.2 now. 5 months between raid tiers. We're going to have, if we say another 5 months before 5.4 drops, it'll have been not even a year from release of Mists of Pandaria.
That's crazy fast for a whole expansion.
Yeah.
It's really fast.
We do know that they've said for a while that they want to be pumping out expansions faster, so I imagine if that's the case, then that's what they're going for. Is they're like, okay, 5 months after that, then we're also going to come out with an expansion or something like that, or maybe 6 or 7 months, but still.
You think there's no chance? You think there's no chance of getting anything after that? None.
I think there's a possibility. I think it'd have to be something like what Olivia was saying, where it's like a Ruby Sanctum something or other, just to like, hey, here, this will keep you guys busy for another month or so.
Other stuff like there's other lore, there's other sort of story ends that could be tied up as well, like dealing with Garrosh, and we'll get to this later. But there are other bits and bobs that could comprise like a little mini raid. I think there's stuff there. Depends what they do.
And I gotta ask a question. Do you think they could actually announce another expansion of BlizzCon?
If it's not announced by then, I think they'll have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm wondering if they can wait until November to announce a new expansion. Like, they might have to get that out of the bag a little bit sooner than that.
It's weird. It feels really early this time for some reason.
Yeah, it feels so. I mean, obviously they're doing it faster. They keep talking about how they're doing it faster, but I don't know. I'm like, maybe you guys think differently, but when they said they were doing it faster, I was kind of like, yeah, of course you are. Heard it all before. And now I'm like, whoa, let's just slow down a second.
Slow it down. Don't give me too much to do. Come on now.
This is way too fast. I need my 6 max level character.
I think I actually do like the faster content releases. I don't know. I think it puts the content out at a pace where I'm actually enjoying. Like, and I'm not. How do I put it? I'm not bored of the current content by the time new content comes along. I think that's a good thing. I think it should not be something where I'm like, oh, thank God, finally something new to do. No, I do like it. So if they can pull it off, then I'm all for it. It's just it's gonna be weird sitting there, 10 months after release, going.
That was fun.
Here? We have that already?
Did we really do the whole expansion? Was that really an entire... Wait, what? Really? An entire expansion? I can't help thinking that they're going to get... If they keep it up, if they keep this pace up, I can't help thinking we're going to get to a point where there's going to be a long gap. There's a long gap coming, but I just don't know when. Like, I can't help thinking that they're going to run out of steam, and then it's just going to be like, wow, okay, we don't have enough content.
I don't think it's going to I don't think it's going to happen this time. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know. I think it's going to come actually quicker.
Being a bit of a negative Nazi, but I just I kind of...
Boo-hoo.
It seems a bit too good to be true. Like, it seems a bit too good to be true that they can keep this pace up, because it's crazy fast compared to what we're used to.
You've got to put Cataclysm. Forget it.
I can't forget it, Josh Allen. You weren't there, man.
I was. I was there.
I've got like some PTSD from Cataclysm.
Yeah, exactly. Like you mentioned, like we were playing that trailer. We played not the trailer, the intro with the Deathwing and everything. I'm sitting here going,
twitching.
Remember that. Those were the days. All right. We also got him to talk a bit about Raiden and the role the Titans are playing in the future of the series. Check this out. Raiden's sound file says, wait, I am not your enemy. Goes on and says, I do not believe that you can correct this doomed course, but you have earned the right to try. And Rathion's legendary audio shares says, we have fallen. We must rebuild the final Titan. Do not forget. It's gone. I do not remember any of it. None of them remember. Which rather implies that we might be working with the Titans rather than against them. Is this just wild tinfoil hat speculation, or is there something more to that?
It's good tinfoil hat speculation. It's not that wild. But can
I just point out right there? Can I just point out, because you hear that little laughter and that yelling in the back? That's our producer bleeding through the mic as she was muted, and she hates the fact that I just pointed that out. But I'll just continue.
Titans. I think they're most interesting when they're cryptic. They do kind of think at the level of gods, and so when you talk to the Titans or the Titan Keepers, you never really get the full story. Like, you never really quite know what they're talking about. So Rathion's dialogue is relevant, but also it could mean a lot of different things. And actually, I think that speculation is cool as people try and figure out what it actually means, and what has Ra discovered down there, Raden? What is he?
Do you hear him pausing just to try and find the words of like, it's cool. And how do I formulate my thoughts without giving this away?
Yeah, exactly. How do I say this without revealing the whole story arc?
Yes, I don't want to give this all away. You kind of figured some of this out, but okay.
Discovered or learned that has made him so miserable, and what does he mean by doomed course? And I think that's awesome to speculate about, and I think that's all very, very
it's
relevant.
Awesome.
Very relevant.
Like he's happy we figured it out.
To the future franchise.
So pretty much what?
I would say if he's anything like Chris Metzen, and he obviously works with him quite a bit, you get Metzen in front of a microphone at BlizzCon or something, he's like, okay, well, you guys, here's all of the story for the next 5 titles we're going to release, because I get so excited about these things, I can't keep my mouth shut.
I'm just going to say everything. Everything comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
So Dave was trying to be a Titan and just be as cryptic as possible, just like the Titans. But the key phrase, what do you think he means there by being, and I quote, very relevant to the future of the franchise?
Titan expansion. All you Burning Legion people were wrong.
What? Well, hold on.
Ooh.
Burning Legion formed by Sargeras. Sargeras, fallen Titan.
Dun, dun, dun. Gopher! Why do you not have a
shit,
Gopher?
I don't have them ready. Hang on.
Get on! We're doing.
And by the way, just to point this one out before people freak out, Titan, the secret unannounced.
Yeah.
That's not this.
No.
It's not it. It's something
No,
else entirely.
Not Titan. Titans.
Yeah.
Titans. Not Titan.
Yes, I mean most of the clues that everybody were formulating were pointing towards a Burning Legion themed expansion. That would probably be the next thing that they would announce. So you guys are thinking no? Focus more around the Titans?
Well,
I don't know. Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
Well, I was just saying, like, I think a Burning Legion focused expansion is a Titan focused expansion in a way, because
Yeah, I guess you're
I was
right.
saying Sargeras is a fallen Titan. He formed the Burning Legion. I've said a lot of times I don't think we'll kill Sargeras, but we'll probably fight him at some point. We'll probably try to, I don't know, stave off his invasion of Azeroth at some point. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And
I don't know.
one other thing that I just wanted to mention about this thing in particular, I thought it was kind of amazing that Dave even answered this question. 'Cause you
Yeah.
were like, hey, so data mined information, what's up? And he was just like, yeah, no,
And-
let's just go totally
And
roll
we
with
talked,
it.
Really cool
we
intent.
talked about that prior
Yeah,
to,
we did.
and we did. We discussed it. I even brought that
We were
fact
like-
up, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if they're going to answer this. I mean, we just, started to, I was like, I don't know. It's kind of like, data mine material. It's not like a leak, but it kind of is. And like, will they even discuss this? And Dave was cool enough to talk about it. So now I'm just going to, we've got a full-time data miner now on staff at gamebreaker.tv, and he's pulling apart it. No, we really don't. There's tons more content in the interview with Dave that we did. I definitely suggest you guys go check it out. Go give it a watch, especially if you want to get into all the story of Pandaria. But there's one more bit. We have to play this, and this is kind of a big deal. Check this out. All right, this next one. A ton of people have asked us. We need you to settle this once and for all. We've had six. We've had six already.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the seventh Shah?
Yeah,
Or is there not one? Or is there not one at all?
Yasiraj had 7 heads, and we know like the heads in the lore. It says that one breathed love, inhaled love, and breathed hate, and another breathed peace and exhaled violence. So 6 of them. What about the 7th head? What was there? That's something that will be revealed.
So there you have it. Tinfoil speculation has been correct all along. 7th head of a 7th head. There is a 7th Shah, and he's going to show himself. We just lost Olivia. Bing bong! Josh, what do you think? This has to involve Garrosh, right?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's definitely the direction that it's heading. Speaking of heading, hi. I am the 7th head of Usarj, or whatever his name is.
What do you think, though? Seriously. What do you think? You think Garrosh goes too far, gets himself in trouble with the final Shah? Maybe that's when we take him down? He's out.
Yeah, no. I'm I'm glad that's my face now. That's definitely what I'm thinking here. Is that Garrosh gets himself into too much trouble with the Shah, because all of the stuff that he's done so far, he's like, yes, the Shah, this seems like a good idea. I'll just go ahead and infest everything with the Shah. God damn it. Why do you still have that picture?
I save everything.
I'm gonna come out to California and just wipe that hard drive. Just destroy it. I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna delete it. Anyway. The Shah of Derp. Yes, that's probably that's probably the missing one. That's the Shah of Derp. That's the one that Garrosh has run into. And he's going to get an awesome Horde jersey, and he's going to grow his hair out.
Josh, focus. Come on, we're trying to do a show here. Come on, focus. What do you think?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's Garrosh. Totally. Like it involves Garrosh at the very least. It's like the Shah of whatever's left is infesting Garrosh, and that's why we gotta kill him.
What do you think who do you think the final Shah could be? So you've got what? You've already taken down what? Anger, despair, doubt, fear, hatred, and violence, right?
Yeah.
What do you think the seventh could be? Bruce Dickinson?
The Shaw of Derp?
Oh,
Shaw of Happiness?
Shaw of Rainbows?
Yeah. If it's Garrosh, I don't know, like the Shaw of Douche, maybe? Maybe that's the direction we're going? No, I don't. A lot of people theorize, and somebody just brought this up in the chat room too, a lot of people theorize the Shaw of Lust because it kind of goes along with the seven deadly sins. Somehow I don't think that that's a good idea. the Shaw of getting entirely too excited about things. Maybe not so much. Maybe Shaw of greed. Shaw of something
Gluttony.
like that. I don't know. Shaw of getting really fat. I mean, Garrosh is a much bigger. He's a much bigger orc than everyone else. So
I'm putting on some pounds, huh? It's all the camera. Gotta go to the gym.
the camera is just getting way heavier.
It is. All right, well, we can work on getting Olivia back. I'll tell you guys about a great deal we got going on with Audible right now. If you guys have not checked this out, seriously, I don't know what the heck you're waiting for. All you got to do is go over to audible.com/gamebreaker. Use that URL, and you're not only going to get to try out Audible free for 30 days, which I have to say, if I can get it here. If you guys have not, they updated their app, like, I think it was this week. Bing Bong is probably our co-host. The new Audible app is freaking phenomenal. It's so much better than the last app. If you haven't updated and you're a subscriber, make sure you update your app. If you guys haven't checked out Audible, it's audiobooks on your iPhone, your iPad, your whatever you want, your Android, any kind of electronic device. Download the app, put it on your phone, and using that URL right here, audible.com/gamebreaker, we're also going to give you a free audiobook. And might I suggest just searching the term Dungeons and Dragons? Yes, I would suggest it. They've put all the D&D books, not all of them, but a ton of them up on Audible just this year in 2013. I didn't even know this. But all these are for the Neverwinter series, the stuff by R.A. Salvatore. All of these are on here, and you can pick one of these for your free book if you want. So these are definitely worth checking out. I'm still on this one here. Gauntlgrim is what I'm listening to. This is book 1, Legend of Drizzt, the Neverwinter Saga, book 1. Definitely, I'm going to play a little bit of it for you because it deserves to be heard.
Drizzt shrugged. For what answer could he give? And there ye go, elf, Bruner replied to that shrug. Ye can't be knowing, and I can't be knowing, and ye telled me to sign the damned treaty, and I signed the damned treaty, and we can't be knowing. But we are knowing that many humans and elves, and yes, Bruner, dwarves, got to live out their lives in peace and prosperity.
Now I don't want to stop it. I'm like, let's just sit here and listen to that because it's better than this stupid show. Go check it out. Use that URL. Audible.com/gamebreaker. Download the app, put it on your phone, use the service free for 30 days, and get a free audio book. Olivia, it's so nice to have you back. Thank you.
Sorry. My laptop did that awesome thing it does where it shuts itself down.
It's awesome.
Amazing. I love it so much when it does that.
All right, let's move on. We got so much more to go through. Wowhead posted a great interview with lead encounter designer Ian, a.k.a. Ion, Azakostas, earlier today. Josh, you like that game Ion, don't you? I see you wear the shirt all the time on the show. Josh? Did you play Ion?
I don't think you guys are friends anymore.
I think he played Ion. No, I think he played Ion. I think he liked the game. I think he thought it was pretty good. You're an Ion supporter, aren't you? You're like the lead cheerleader of Ion. Guess not. Maybe I'm wrong. All right. Wowhead. Wow. I swear to God, I'm such a jerk. Wowhead asked him about Raiden and asked why there's nothing in the dungeon journal about him. He said, for this heroic only boss, we don't have to worry about having the data for all players. This really is designed for that 1% of players. We probably will add a dungeon journal entry for Raiden in later patches just so that it's fair and complete. Once the information is out there, there's no use in trying to hide it. So first off, how much of an impact do you think lack of a dungeon journal is actually going to have, even for top guilds? Is this a big deal, Josh?
To an extent, it really is, and part of the interview, Ian was talking about this in there too. It really is a relatively minor thing for the top guilds, where they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna pull this a couple of times, and then we'll find out what the spells are, and then we'll go look those spells up on Wowhead so we can read the tooltips and then know exactly what's happening. Or they'll even just be reading the tooltips in the middle of the attempt, going, oh, this is what that debuff does. Okay, good to know. It does mean that not having that dungeon journal info in there does mean that a few of the very, very first polls, they're going to just be trying to figure out what he even does. And that's a big deal when you've got only 30 polls to actually do it.
Like in isolation, I don't think it's a big deal, but when you've only got 30 they've only got 30 polls for the first reset unless they're running out groups. So it kind of becomes more of a big deal then, I think. That's my view anyway. It's
how do you guys feel about that?
If it was either the... Sorry.
No, keep going.
No, I was just saying, if it was either the 30 pulls in isolation or the dungeon journal thing in isolation, neither of those things would be that huge. But the two together is like... So we literally don't know a thing. We don't know a thing about this boss apart from the limited attempts.
How long do you think they'll wait? Before they
add it into the dungeon journal?
How long do you think they should wait? You think it's going to be a whole patch?
Well, I mean, I guess I don't think it'll be actually. No, I'd take that back, because it's just a matter of time before the information is out there anyway. And I mean, it's like Ian talks in the same. God, I nearly said Ion then. Gary. He talks in the same interview about how the point of the dungeon journal is to stop people having to alt tab to find out the basic information about the bosses. So it's not going to be long after the World First race is done. These people are all going to be releasing this information because they're going to be the only ones who are privy to it. And once they're sort of happy that they've either won or come second or third or whatever, then it's going to be out in the wild. It's not going to be long before it's on Wowhead or whatever. So I guess like 2 weeks after the World First or something. I can't see them holding it for that long.
See, I don't necessarily think that they need to be in a big hurry to release it either, because the groups that are going to be running into it at that point anyway, they're going to be alt tabbing out anyway at that point. Like the only person that the alt tab thing really ended up being, well, all you're doing is alt tabbing to read something, so we might as well just put that here in the screen, are the I hate to use the phrase casual, but the more casual than the top, like, serious progression focus skills. Because we're talking about an optional final boss well, not optional, but an extra heroic final boss that's after heroic Lei Shen, who's supposed to be a total asshole to actually kill. It's gonna be, for a while, it's only going to be ridiculously tough, or ridiculously, yes, thank you. I appreciate that keeps coming. No, it's only gonna be like the ridiculously top end guilds that are even getting to that for a while, and those guys are going to be looking up information outside of that anyway.
Yeah.
They're gonna be tabbing out and looking up kill videos. They're gonna be like poring over like Methods kill or Blood Legions kill or whoever else happens to have killed at that point, and going, okay, they moved slightly right here. Did you see that guy? He moved. Why did he move?
So what's your time frame, Josh? What do you think? How long is it going to be before they fill it in?
I don't think they necessarily need to fill it in before like 5.4, honestly. Just because that's when you'll start having people saying, okay, well, we're geared up enough from 5.4, we'll just go back and knock out Raiden because we didn't do him before. At that point, the Dungeon Journal info will be sufficient for that. Otherwise, up until then, you're going to have people who are looking for other information any So
kind of makes sense.
I don't.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
just wait. There's really no rush for it.
He's been pretty clear as well that I guess that the boss is really, it's like he was talking about how it's not for people, it's for 1% of players, I think he says, and I believe that's in the Wowhead interview as well. He sort of says this boss is only for 1% of players. And I mean, like, such a small fraction of players get to full heroic progression anyhow as a total percentage of, you know, the players in the game. But yeah, maybe those 1% of players won't never need it at all.
All right, let's moving on. You say Ian, I say Ion. Let's call the whole thing off. He talked about the upgrades system, and this was actually pretty surprising. Check this out. He said, if we bring back item upgrades in the future, I think we want to explore some way of getting a partial refund or being able to move your upgrade from one item to the other in the same slot. He then goes on and says, what we're going and hoping for is that the second you hit 750 VP, you're excited and run off to the item upgrade vendor to get stronger. Right now, you have to plan out some complex metagame to be efficient. It should just feel good. If we want to bring this system back, we'll work to improve it to avoid some of these pitfalls. So he's talking about a couple possible improvements to the system here, and we're going to get to that in a second. But like, it sounds by his answer that there's a very real chance that they just won't ever bring item upgrades back again. Did you read it the same way?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of sitting there going, well, if we decide to actually do that and bring them back, then I guess we can do this other stuff over here. But I mean, that's if we decide to actually bring item upgrades back. And one thing that a lot of people have pointed out is that with the Thunderforge system in 5.2, which is just like items just have a chance to be better versions of the same item, the item upgrade system on top of that is also kind of redundant. So it's kind of like, do they even really need that system anymore? I think it's kind of nice from the perspective of it gives you a use for your Valor because there's Valor off of freaking everything in Mists of Pandaria. So it's nice to actually have something to spend all of this Valor off on, or all this Valor on. But at the same time, it's like, what was it we were talking about when we first brought up the and we were also talking about, like, are they also going to have elite modes? Are we going to have heroic elite Thunderforge 2 out of 2 upgraded? Like, still, you're going to have to do complex math equations to even figure out what your item level is.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I definitely don't think they've achieved that they've definitely not achieved that thing at the moment, which he's talking about of, oh yeah, as soon as you get 750 Valor, the first thing you're going to do is run and upgrade an item. And I don't honestly see how they can realistically make it the way, like, because you're using Valor to fill gaps in gear as well, so you're always going to have this trade-off between upgrading existing stuff and buying new stuff with Valor. So I mean, unless you sort of get to the point where everyone is fully geared, like everyone has, like towards the end of Cataclysm, where everyone had everything they could ever have wanted and was geared to the hilt, then literally the only thing left to spend Valor on is upgrades. I mean, I think I personally spent a lot of Valor on upgrades in 5.0, 5.1 because due to my laziness and childish behavior, I had no reputation with anybody. So it was the only thing I could spend Valor on.
Do you
now that it's different now. It's different.
Do you think they might actually drop the whole system, Olivia? Just completely just
honestly,
forget it?
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they've not been super positive about it. They've not been sort of saying, oh yeah, when. It's a real if. It's like the phrasing that they're using is if it comes back, which, if they were saying when it, like if you thought it was definitely coming back in your mind when you were talking and tweeting and writing about these things, you'd be saying when. You wouldn't be saying if. So it's definitely highly uncertain. I think they might just do it. And I don't see what purpose it will serve. Maybe like right at the end in 5.4, I guess. But then that's another raid tier. So like 5.5, the Ruby Sanctum tier. Maybe
what do you think?
then.
All right, what do you think about some of the ideas that he talks about here about the improvements that he's talking about?
I definitely think refunds, because you can get your refunds for your gear from vendors. So you buy something from the vendor, you can go 2 hours later and say, oh, derp, I totally brought the agility fees. Derp, here you go. Thanks for my Valor. And then, I did that. But then you go back and you can't do that with the upgrades. You can't swap back for your Valor with them. So that definitely needs to, if they bring it back, that definitely needs to happen.
Yeah, and I like what they were talking about, or what he was talking about with, like basically once you've bought it in a slot, you can transfer it from one item to another in that slot. So it's like, all right, well, I upgraded my weapon, but then like I upgraded my Raid Finder weapon because it's a huge upgrade right away, right? I got this weapon in Raid Finder, and that's awesome. So I put 2 upgrades on it right away. But then wouldn't you know it, we killed the boss that drops it, and I used a coin roll, and I got the other weapons, and now I have this better one, and I just spent all this on the... I should not have spent that Valor at that point, which led to a whole lot of what he's talking about in the interview, where he's like, you right now you just kind of get as close to 3,000 Valor without going, you're sort of playing Price is Right rules with your Valor points.
Yeah.
Get as close to the maximum as you can without going over. And then only spend your Valor if you have a full-on best-in slot, I will never upgrade or I never replace this piece of gear, which of course doesn't happen because more tiers of content come out at the very least.
Yeah.
Or if you're going to cap and you need to not cap. So I definitely think that would be a good way to give people some incentive to actually use their upgrades, to actually go in and upgrade their gear. Without having to immediately feel buyer's remorse when it's like, I don't really know if I should have spent that.
With that, if you were to implement that system, would it not mean that the upgrades are kind of the only logical thing to spend Valor on? Because, like, if you still have the system where you buy gear with Valor, and I don't know, I mean, maybe you don't agree with me, Josh, but I can't see that going away. Then the only logical thing to spend Valor on is upgrades, because you're going to replace gear. But you're not going to replace upgrades then, because it always stays. It's kind of a mathematical problem. It's going to be a question of, do they maybe only allow you to transfer it once? Is one thing that I was thinking of along those lines. Like, is it just that I've unlocked my upgrade for this slot for the rest of eternity? I don't think they'd let you do that. No, so but like for that tier, say for example they did it for that tier, then you've got that situation where buying Valor gear is then a dumb thing to do with your Valor. So you have, like, I don't know. Do you see what I mean? Am I talking nonsense here? Yeah, no. It's true. It's just it's always going to be kind of a math problem anyway. Is the gear, like in 5.1, for the vast majority of players, it was not worth. Like if you were doing Raid Finder, basically, it was better for you to be spending Valor just in terms of raw upgrade per Valor point. It was better for you to be spending Valor on upgrades than it was buying pieces of Valor gear. Even if that piece of Valor gear was a higher item level than what you had right now, it was better for you, again speaking mathematically, more than likely to be spending that on upgrades instead. And that's just kind of how it's a game of numbers, right? There's always going to be a mathematical best. So in cases like that, it does kind of come down to a point where you just kind of have to look at it and say, okay, well, this is just always going to be the better choice in this situation. And I don't think that that's necessarily... That is always going to be the better choice. That is never the better choice. That is always invariably the worst choice. Tight pants are the best choice.
Alrighty. I love Thursdays. All right, so we also got to hear a bit about potential new 5-man content in Mists. I said, we definitely would like to introduce new challenge mode dungeons within the Mists of Pandaria timeframe. Details are not set in stone, but I think there's a lot of dungeons we've done in the past that would be fun to revisit. Getting to run a Shattered Halls timed run again would be interesting. Also, Alcatraz and Halls of Reflection. Some of the highlights of past expansions could be easily updated to a max level challenge mode setting. And that would certainly add some variety in gameplay. How does a challenge mode version of Shattered Halls or Alcatraz sound to you guys?
Alcatraz. Alcatraz.
Look, you say alt. I say alt. You say Ian. I say Ion.
You say Alcatraz. I say Alcatraz because that's what the dungeon's called.
Because that's the right one.
Yeah, because that's the word.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think any challenge mode is a good idea. Do it. Just get involved. I wish I had some sunglasses, but I don't.
I don't know what you mean, but you need the sunglasses.
Okay, perfect. Job's good in.
Oh, there you go. That
yeah,
works.
I'm done.
You're wearing, anyway. No, I actually think it'd be really, really interesting to see how Shattered Halls or Alcatraz, more Shattered Halls for me, just out of a curiosity perspective, because I played a Paladin tank during the Burning Crusade, and that meant I ran a lot of Shattered Halls because everyone was like, no, you need a Paladin tank for Shattered Halls because you've got to be able to group everything up in AoE, and that's what Paladins did back then. So I ran a lot of Shattered Halls, And I'd be really interested to see how that shakes out in the way classes are designed nowadays. At level 90, how does Shattered Halls even work? How does this... How do I shatter these halls?
Yeah.
How do
Shattered Halls? Alcatraz. Yeah, I mean, I think any kind of the older content being done for challenge modes, I can't think of. Now, okay, here's a question: can you think of any dungeon that you would not like to see as a challenge mode apart from stupid things like Ragefire Chasm?
Mechanar, because I never want to run that place ever again.
Burnt out on the Mechanar.
I'm still burnt out on Mechanar. After farming that thing for rep for 1,000,000 years, I'm still tired of Mechanar.
Do you think there's any chance we could see any new 5-man content in this expansion? Or do you think the challenge mode versions of old 5-mans are like the best we're gonna hope for?
I really hope that is not the case. I would be kind of annoyed with Blizzard if they don't add any new 5-mans at all to this expansion. I will like start nerd raging a lot more than I do already. I'm sincerely hoping they're bringing new ones in, like, I don't know, like 5.3, 5.4. Yeah, definitely new 5-mans. Because challenge modes, it's not central to character progression. You don't gear through challenge modes. You get some Valor, sure, and you might get some pretty transmog stuff, but you don't get gear. And like, it means that they're an ancillary. They're a side thing, and not something that there's not enough gain from them to be doing them all the time. And I like 5-man. I like 5-man stuff. Fun. And I don't want to be doing these same heroics all the time.
Telling you, man, they need to bring back 5-man. They need to make 5-man rating a thing. Like,
yeah.
Serious progression 5-man content. Let's do it. Let's add another raid size.
Yeah,
why
let's
not?
add another tier. Let's do 5-man LFR. It's gonna be amazing.
No, I think.
So, like, make heroics heroic again or something. Make them hard again.
I mean,
like they were at the start of that.
But it wasn't.
I liked it. I was happy.
If you were with an organized group at the start of Cataclysm, that was good. For the Dungeon Finder, no.
I do remember just getting into grim battle with, like, and you're just like, oh god, we're not gonna do this. I'm just gonna go. The half-hour requeue time on the deserter debuff is gonna be quicker than this dungeon.
Yeah, I'm honestly kind of torn on new 5-man content, because on the one hand, I would like to see new 5-man content, but on the other hand, I'd like to see Olivia totally nerd rage over the lack of new 5-man content.
I do totally nerd rage.
I think that would be an entertaining watch. So, I mean, I could get entertainment from new 5-mans, or
on the other hand,
we could
can watch me totally nerd rage about why they haven't put 5-mans in the game. For God's sake!
It's a little column A, little column B. I don't think that's actually a good way to apply that phrase, but
It's perfect.
Hammer that one in there.
It's perfect, bro. Just go with it. All right. We have really just scratched the surface of all the interviews, and there's still a bunch of other sites that are doing some more, including the most important one, the only one that matters, is an interview coming up tomorrow right here on Gamebreaker TV with both Mr. Greg Street, Ghostcrawler, and Ian Ion Hazakostas.
Please don't call him Ion. Please. Just don't.
He's usually a pretty calm guy.
Yeah.
I'm just terrified that you'll just be like, so Ion, and he'll just drop the microphone, walk off. He's just like, no, I'm done. No, screw Gamebreaker.
Yeah, they'll just be like, the first time he'll be like, Ian, and you'll be like, yeah, Ion. Anyway, the second time he'll be like, Ian, and then the third time he'll be like, flips table, walks out. See if we can break. No, let's not see if we can break. No,
all right, make sure to tune in tomorrow. Yes. If you guys are watching the live show, tune in tomorrow. It's going to be live right here on GameBreaker.tv. It's at 1 PST, 111. We're streaming it live at 1 Pacific for that interview with Greg and Ian. And I would imagine that we're going to have a lot of very interesting stuff to talk about next week, and hopefully we'll get some PvP stuff to talk about as well. But for now, let's answer some viewer questions and get the F out of here. So, If you guys have a question for the legendary crew, send them over to submit@gamebreaker.tv and keep an eye on our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/gamebreakertv as well. And we love the video questions. Make sure to send those in as well. Just record yourself on YouTube and send us the link, and we'll be sure to play that on the show. So first up this week, here's a question from Steven Scott. It says, with increasing health due to more attackers being applied in some NPCs and rares, do you think this could be applied to raid bosses to provide more flexible group sizes for players? What do you think, Liv?
I think that it's too complicated. I don't think that's going to happen. I just think, I mean, with a rare, it's kind of don't stand in stuff that, like, if you see that smoky stuff on the floor, move. And, you know, if you see them casting something, see if you can interrupt that. And that's kind of the extent of rare mechanics. Like, I'm sure there's other stuff as well, don't get me wrong. But it's not, the mechanics aren't complicated. And, like, I can't see them doing that. Like, to apply the maths to every single ability, to apply that maths to force and verve from the Grand Vizier floor block, whatever he's called. And like that would be really hard. Zorlock. That would be really hard. Floor lock. That would be really hard to do. And like to apply that to existing raid mechanics, like that would be a whole different ball game. And we've talked about this on Legendary before, and Josh brought up the good point that there's going to be a point at which the raid is easy. So like if you bring 9 players, it's super easy. If you bring 10, it's hard. If you bring 13, super easy. 15, bad. Well, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening myself.
Yeah, it'd just turn into a question of raids discovering at which size do we get an extra thing, right?
Yeah, like a tick of a dot or something like that.
Yeah, or at this point, do we have to add an extra person into this rotation? Or at this point, is there an extra fire that will spawn that we have to run away from? Or an extra ad that will spawn to make up for the different raid sizes? Because it's not a gradual thing that just translates directly from 10 to 25 right now. Things will just be weird like that. And you'll just see people, you'll see raids saying, okay, well, we've got our 16 raiders for this group. We're not going to bring any more people. It's just going to end up meaning that instead of having 10 and 25 men, you have, well, this encounter is 15 people. This encounter is 12 people.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
encounter is 9. This encounter is...
And does that mean you're going to have a giant bench for people because there's one encounter in one tier? Like, say, Megara in this upcoming tier is best done with 29 people, but the boss before that is best done with 6. You know, it's going to be all kinds of crazy. Like you're benching 23 people for that one boss or something like that. I mean, you already have enough trouble with I don't know, maybe it's just my guild, but fights where you have like a different number of tanks or a different number of healers, and it's kind of a pain because like, no, I want to tank, no, I want to heal, you want a DPS. It's all right, we'll swap you for someone. And that's a hassle, and I can't see them doing this because this would just be a world of hassle.
All right, next up we got a video question. This one in from Captain British.
Good evening, Legendary team. Captain British here, and I come to you with a question, as that is, of course, the segment of the show. Over my 8 years of playing this here video game, I've come to notice a recurring trend. With each new expansion, the quote-unquote epic armor we wear has become increasingly unrealistic and flamboyant. For example, the Tier 2 Paladin gear. I'm sure you all know it well. It's classy and striking to the eye, yet not in an unpleasant way. It's not understated, but it's not over-designed either, and it's possibly the most memorable of all the tier sets. Now let's compare that to, say, Tier 13. Perhaps not the worst example I could have chosen, but does this honestly look like something that anyone anywhere would wear into battle? I look like a bally bird. These days, I tend to prefer the designs of the green and blue questing armor sets to my epics. You see, they at least look like things that people would realistically wear to battle. Now, there are many more examples of this, but I shan't cram my point into your noggins any further. My question is, do you think, as I do, that Blizzard need to rein in the designs of their tier armor a bit, and perhaps go back to focusing less on increasing the polygon count of the shoulders as far as possible, and more on making classy, memorable designs? Hope to hear from you soon. Hugs and kisses, Captain British.
Okay, when you put together a video question that good, you get to break the 30-second rule. Just saying. All right, so
for sure.
should Blizzard dial back armor designs a bit? What do you think? Do you think that they've gone a little bit too far? Do you want them a little bit more realistic?
Okay, so first off, I honestly didn't mind the Paladin Tier 13 set as long as you hit the helmet. The helmet with the whole
I liked the helmet. I was a fan of the helmet. It looked like a bird. It was wicked.
Listen, I play a female blood elf. When I had that helmet showing, I thought I was going to tip over.
You looked like a lollipop.
A slight gust of wind would come up, and I'd just be like flat on my face in an instant. I did like the way that the set looked otherwise. Haven't been terribly excited by the sets, the tier sets at least in Mists of Pandaria so far, which is weird because I like the Captain British who was asking the question there was saying, a lot of the like greens and blues actually look amazing. Like I've been holding on to several of the greens and blues, and in fact there's a couple of like for a while I was actually just transmog completely into a set of vendor greens because that all looked really, really good. But then I look at like the Warlock sets because I'm playing my Warlock now, and like the Warlock Tier 14 set, I'm just like, okay.
Somebody can somebody gift that right now? Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm just saying, like, I get that I'm a Warlock. I'm supposed to be evil. I'm supposed to be embracing the corruption and everything, but I look more like I'm just hungry in that set.
Like a cow. Like a cow chewing the cow.
Yeah, exactly. And then the tier 15 set, honestly, I
gotta jump in here. I mean, this is first of all, I would love to see a picture. Blizzard probably, I'm gonna guess, I'm making this totally up. I'm making this up. But I'm gonna guess that they have a wall somewhere, like in their office, and they just have like all the different, like when they're doing new tiers, and they just have all the artwork up on a big wall where everybody can kind of see it and kind of, you know, make comments about it and try and figure out, because they must design so many different designs for each tier set. And this is such a subjective thing. It's like you are never, ever, ever, ever in a million years going to cater to everyone, right? So doesn't it make sense that they just have to sort of shift the transition between the entire tier? It's like one tier, they'll do like some crazy over the top, like, you know, as he says, flamboyant looking thing. And then another tier, they'll dial it back and go kind of gritty and basic. And they know that they're only going to cater to a certain specific demographic of the World of Warcraft audience. But it's like, there's no way you can hit this for everybody.
If they ever actually did the dial it back to something basic.
Exactly. If they don't ever dial it back. It's like a freaking shoulder arms race. This is like the Cold War of shoulders. We need to have like a shoulder disarmament treaty.
But everyone wants them.
They're going to be like, they start off like this, and then, you know, before we know it, it's just going to be like book-sized giant
jets.
It's ridiculous.
Air Force jets and toilets.
Look, I'm gonna put all the cups.
All the cups. All the cups.
Oh! That went down there. But literally, it is insane. It's ridiculous, guys. The guy who's designing the shoulder armor is just showing off. Just make him design the feet.
See, I don't agree. I disagree. I think they probably learned that the shoulders are probably the most prominent piece in their armor sets, and people love them. They love them. They love the silhouette. This goes back to, like, should I even mention it? Warhammer. Of just, you know, just that. I don't know. Yeah, they can't cater this to everybody. Everybody's got different tastes.
No, they have. Everyone has different tastes. But I mean, look at the sets that people transmog into. The sets that people transmog into are almost, I mean, there's probably an exception to this. Not the Judgment set, that was the one we just saw. There's a set that is Burning Crusade era Paladin, which kind of has like these glowy shoulders.
Crystal
and people
Forge?
like
That would be tier 5.
I'm so bad at remembering the names.
But you
of
can't
sets
knock
of
it out of
tiers.
the park every time, you know? Like we do 10 shows and 9 of them suck really bad. And like people come back and they watch it and you gotta go on. Like we finish the show sometimes and I'm just like, man, this show Legendary just sucks. You know what? I come back next week and I do it again. You just gotta do it.
You just have to like once more into the breach, man. But I don't know.
You can't knock them all out of the park.
No, you can't knock them all out of the park. They just need to stop building. I mean, we've just learned here today what happens when you try to make shoulder armor too tall.
You spill your drink
everywhere.
You spill like a shot of beer because that's all you had left because you were drinking when your computer shut down. Then you end up with a little bit of beer on the desk that you podcast from. Bad things happen when shoulders get out of control, guys. Stop it.
I don't know. I like the shoulders. I just don't like the helms.
I don't know. I don't mind the helms, I guess.
Oh my God, does it go in circles? Just shut up. Shut up. I don't like the helmets. I don't like the shoulders. I don't like the feet. I don't like this. I don't like that. Exactly. Blizzard, how the heck do you deal with these people? Seriously. I have no idea.
I've still got some beer.
If I worked at Blizzard, it would just be this all day. This would be me all day. All right, last up this week from Stephen Farquhar. Stephen Farquhar says, what do you think of the changes in 5.2 allowing blacksmithing to get from 1 to 500 in just Ghost Iron? Do you think nerfing profession leveling like this may have an effect on the lower level mats economy or tarnish the classic WoW experience? Josh, I'll start with you.
I think the biggest reason that they're doing this is because they kind of forgot to make blacksmiths level their professions for the last, 3 expansions. Because it was, you got to, 400 that you needed for the extra sockets? And then you didn't have, that was it. The extra sockets was the whole reason that you were level, unless you were, trying to craft stuff. But most people nowadays only level professions for the specific bonuses for their character. You got the one for blacksmithing at 400. So now they're kind of having to go back, okay, we should probably make some way for people to actually level that without forcing every blacksmith to go and run in circles in Northrend for ever. So that's kind of all it looks like to me. I don't think it's going to particularly ruin anything. It just seems like something that they needed to implement something to get blacksmiths caught back up.
Yeah, they needed to put something in to actually incentivize people to level it. And also because of the forge thing that they're introducing in 5.2, which makes blacksmithing, a useful profession again? No way! Amazing! So they actually needed to put stuff in to give people a way to get there, I guess. And I mean, I think they spoke about this with the changes to cooking for 5.0, saying that they were happy that there was a catch-up mechanism. And I mean, I don't know, I guess it's going to make Ghost, I can see it heavily increasing the demand and the price of Ghost Iron ore. That is going to be either really oversupplied or really expensive. And I guess, I mean, depends on, maybe if you're an impoverished WoW player, you might still level it the traditional way because it's cheaper. I don't know. I can't see that happening. Pass.
Olivia D. Grace, follow her on the Twitter at Olivia D. Grace. And of course, come over to GameBreaker.tv and read all our great work there. Your news hits, Chat Bubbles. Chat Bubbles
Yes, Chat
with
Bubbles.
Olivia D. Grace. Do not miss the Chat Bubbles. Josh Allen. Josh Allen, follow him on the Twitter at Devolore, DEVOLORE. And of course, go over to Zam.com, Tankspot.com, watch the Weekly Marmot, watch PST, watch Just the Tip, and watch Legendary. Watch how my body rolls, watch how my body rolls. Hi, kick, hi, kick. Come over to GameBreaker.tv all day, every day for all your World of Warcraft news. Yes, we cover it all day, almost every day. It's probably the day that doesn't go by that we don't cover World of Warcraft news on GameBreaker TV. Like I said, Dave Kosak interviews up on GameBreaker TV. Go watch that. Tomorrow we got Ghostcrawler and Ion. I don't know, it's some game with flying and wings. I'm not really sure about it, but I think Josh likes it. We're going to cover that as well. I don't know how that game is actually coming into the conversation, but
thyself, you're a vessel, shimmy and activate your dance floor kitty. When I place my legs in a cage of spandex, I dance like hell to release the madness. Watch my feet pound holes in plywood, watch my hips crush plates of baked goods. Watch out for my body rolls, watch out for my body rolls. High kicks, this is how we do it. Watch out for my body rolls, watch out for my body rolls. High kicks, this is how we do it. 'Twas the last stitch on the final scene he placed onto me. My leg hairs quivered and screamed. I know I needed them more than ever, but then he looked at my legs and said, never. I was already wearing tight pants, I just did not activate them. Wow. Body roll, high kick, this is how we do it. What you said, break it down. Body roll, high kick, you activate and feel. I'm a dance floor tiger lady, pumping everything she has, touching every single lad, rubbing every lady flat. Work that dance floor, they may vote you mayor jazz. One day have a plaque that says she wore the tightest of pants. Watch out for my body rolls, watch out for my body rolls. High kicks, this is how we do it. Watch out for my body rolls, watch out for my body rolls. High kicks.